Thank you, Hector. Thank you very much for those kind words. And I just want to start by saying, you hearty souls. I mean, well done. And it's a tribute to Peter, it's a tribute to Andrew, but it's also a tribute to you, because you showed up. And it was a yucky day, but, you know, there's a lot of people who woke up this morning and just said, I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. And the people who show up are actually the people who actually make the world go around. So I very much appreciate that so many people came. You know, for me, as one of the non-legal people in this prestigious annual gathering, you know, I feel very lucky and privileged to be sitting with some of the best lawyers in New York and some of the finest judges. I mean, it really is a special occasion for me. And certainly that video really knocked my socks off, you know, and I'm taken with how the legal profession gives something back in such a consistent way. I'm not quite sure many other professions live up to that high bar that NYLPI and you do, certainly for the communities around New York. It's a privilege for me to introduce Peter Beshar to you today, my colleague, as one of this year's honorees. I mean, Peter has accomplished so much in his career in the name of justice. I just hope I can do a little bit of justice to him in this introduction. So let me just start by saying, speaking of justice, I'll give you a factoid that sounds a bit contrived, but it's 100% true. Peter J. Beshar. Peter's middle name is Justice. I'm not kidding. It is. And both of his parents were, before you have any visions of both of Peter's parents being, you know, from the 1960s hippie generation and naming their kids Peace or Justice or something like that. Both of Peter's parents are lawyers, and so they knew what they were doing, and Peter, you know, is probably one of the few people who was truly born to be a lawyer. Now, Peter joined Marsh and McLennan Companies in 2004 as our general counsel, following what for many mortals would already be viewed as a full and distinguished legal career. He graduated from Harvard Law. He worked as an assistant attorney general in New York and as a special assistant to former Secretary of State Cyrus Vance in the peace negotiations in the former Yugoslavia. He spent a decade at the law firm Gibson, Dunn & Crutcher, where he made partner in 1999 and was the co-chair of the firm's securities litigation practice. Peter's role as MMC's executive vice president and general counsel is impressive enough in terms of the scope of its responsibility. He has oversight for 140 lawyers in more than 20 countries, but he's much more than a general counsel. He also leads and has oversight for our risk management group, our media relations function, and our government relations team, which he really had a huge part in creating in 2008. He's a vital member of our executive committee and a contributor on a wide range of matters, including corporate strategy, tax, pension, corporate culture, risk, and of course, regulatory and legal matters. And now we've added communications as well to his many activities. So as you would expect, Peter is no stranger to accolades and honors for his work. In 2008, he was selected as a David Rockefeller Fellow. He was selected as a fellow by the Partnership for the City of New York. He received the Business Leadership Award from the Citizens Union of New York and was named a Legends in Law winner by the Burton Awards for Legal Achievement in 2010. The MMC Legal Department has also won numerous awards under Peter's leadership, including Litigation Department of the Year in 2012, as named by the International Legal Organization, and as a 2013 Value Champion, as selected by the Association of Corporation or Corporate Counsel. Peter is more than a great team leader. He is a great team builder. He is disciplined, diligent. He thinks strategically. He's constantly scanning the horizon. He's creative. He's global. He possesses a restless curiosity and passion. I can tell you if Peter was invited to the lunch, he would have shown up to the lunch, even if he wasn't being honored today. So he has a passion for everything. He's continually challenging himself and those around him. He makes the team better than it otherwise would be. He's the epitome of a trusted advisor to our board and a strategic partner to me. Peter and I generally speak 5 or 6 times per day. And true to his middle name, Peter's guiding principle throughout his entire career has been to do what is just, to do what is right. This is a man who cares deeply about humanity on a global level, but also is driven to make changes and to have an impact, a meaningful difference at a local level. An example of this is Peter's involvement with our company's Veterans Initiative. We decided to create a program with the goal of hiring 500 veterans in the United States over the next 3 years within Marsh & McLennan companies. Peter was instrumental in the development of this program, which really grew out of his work as a member of the board at John Jay College of Criminal Justice right here in New York City. On his own volition, Peter also approached the president of John Jay to suggest they create a roundtable that included other companies that could work together to help develop and place graduating veteran students into jobs. Peter now chairs this roundtable, which includes representatives from several prominent New York companies. Another inaugural project that I know Peter is proud of and that reinforces MMC's commitment to pro bono involves MMC Legal and Deckard joining forces with Lenox Hill Neighborhood House and NYLPI to connect expert attorneys with New York City seniors to help them exercise their legal rights to make decisions about their health care. It's an opportunity for aging adults to ensure their health care preferences are respected in the event they are not able to communicate for themselves. Peter, for all you do within the office walls and beyond, and in the name of public service and doing what is right, I'm proud to present you with NYLPI's Law and Society Award.
Well, good afternoon. Let's try that again. Let's see if the mic works. Good afternoon. All right, there's life out there. My gosh, Dan, that was so over the top. And in front of my mother, my wife, 2 of my sisters, and 1 of my daughters. I mean, just outrageous. So just as I was getting ready to come up here, my wife leaned to me, my beloved wife of 23 years, and she said, "Just remember, Peter, this is not about you." It's hard being married to these women who are always right, and she is indeed right. So first, Dan Glaser. This man has literally transformed Marsh & McLennan. He has these pithy, simple rallying cries for our 55,000 employees in 100 countries. A couple of them to give you a feel. Act like an owner. That means treat shareholders' money as if it was yours. Pin the rose. You can't leave a meeting until you have clearly said who has accountability for driving the project forward. And my personal favorite, there is always a smarter way. And is indeed there ever. Under Dan's leadership, the profitability of Marsh & McLennan has increased by $1 billion, and the market cap is increased by $15 billion. Pretty extraordinary results. So second, the legal team at Marsh & McLennan, in my humble and totally biased view, the finest legal department in corporate America today, Will you raise your hands, all the members of the legal department who are here? So you heard it from Dan, Litigation Department of the Year. I was particularly pleased to hear Value Champion of the Year, Gold Medal winner in intellectual property. How appropriate is that during these Olympic periods? And really thrilled with them. And we have Judge Rich Sullivan here, who we consider to be an honorary member of the legal department of Marsh & McLennan. And most importantly, the organization that brought all of us together here in this blizzard. Andy Levander and I had the great privilege of going down and meeting with the staff last Friday, and we asked them, what would you like us to say? One of the staffers raised their hand and said, it would be great if you could recite the name of the organization without having to look down at your notes. So I've been practicing. New York Lawyers for the Public Interest, Inc. All right, let's all say it together. New York Lawyers for the Public Interest. Gavin, are you satisfied now? So how can an organization of only 35 people produce an outpouring of support like this? $2 million raised, hundreds of institutions, people who actually come out on the actual day. And I think the answer is the work that you saw depicted on the video. And I hope really every member of the staff of NYLPI and every member of the board of directors really feels validated by the work and the outpouring of support that you've received. It was a privilege for me to learn that it was none other than Cyrus Vance, who was the founding force behind NYLPI in 1976. As Dan mentioned, in 1992 and 1993, I had the great honor of serving as Secretary Vance's special assistant in the United Nations negotiations in the former Yugoslavia. And he was just one of the truly great Americans of his generation, and an inspiration to me, and I suspect to many of the people in this audience. There are three aspects of this organization that really stand out for me. The first is that NYLPI is there for the marginalized New Yorkers, the people whose voices would not otherwise be heard, that was reflected so poignantly in the video. The second is NYLPI's gorgeous belief that actually every community in the city has power. We're accustomed in this room to dealing with organizations where that power is overt and it's forceful. NYLPI deals in a world where that power is latent and hidden. And really the magic of the organization is its ability to deploy the tools that are available to it, policy advocacy and community organizing, media, litigation, to uncover and then harness that power. And the third aspect is the drive for systemic change, more than individual change, trying to figure out what can the organization do that improves the lives of thousands of New Yorkers for months and years to come. So it's a pretty hard process to think, well, what can you do more? What more could this organization possibly do? And so Andy and I gave it thought and tried to figure out how is it that we could perhaps jointly advance a particular cause. And there are a couple of trends in the law going on. So much of the extraordinary support in this room, probably 95%, comes from law firms. But in particularly, I'd like to give a shout out to my former partners at Gibson Dunn for their extraordinary generosity and also just personal support to me. But now, so many lawyers, or certainly an increasing number of lawyers, are working in corporations, in legal departments to be sure, but also in compliance groups and in claims advocacy. And for those lawyers, there's not the same vehicle or access for volunteering in the community. And at the same time, you have law firms over here quite keen to build stronger relationships with the in-house counsel. And so the idea that Andy had, it was to try to jointly do a project with NYLPI where Marsh & McLennan and Deckert lawyers would come together. And so we've chosen the Lenox Hill Neighborhood Association, as Dan mentioned, to try to support seniors in preparing living wills and healthcare proxies. And I'm hopeful that that's a model that works in the future, quite frankly, for the organization, and that there will be law firms and corporations that will marry up in the coming years. So in closing, I just want to salute each of you for showing up today and for your really astonishing generosity to this organization and, most importantly, to the people in our city who are most in need of your help. Thank you.